3, 2, 1, needle pod.
Needle. Gosh, I was way off. You counted really fast there, Paul. That was too fast.
What's tricky about this, and you all can't see, is I do the 3, 2, 1 before we're live. So it's like I tell Ellie, I'm like, I'm going to do the 3, 2, 1, then we're going to do the 3, 2, 1. And I guess, yeah, my second 3, 2, 1 was a lot faster than my first. So
yes.
Not your fault. We haven't nailed it. Maybe we never will.
Never will. Yeah.
So we're jumping in today with the top 10, I think we landed on top 10, like dry needling adjacent supplies. Like we're not necessarily going to talk stim units and needles. I'm talking like the little stuff in the clinic. And I mean, some of mine are travel. The little supplies that make dry needling easier or that you don't think of until you need it. So I think we have 10, and I think we're just going to go back and forth, kind of just you send one, I send one or two, and kind of explain why.
Totally.
You dig it?
I dig it.
And I mean, you guys all know I'm affiliated with iDry Needle, and this is not to sell you stuff, and I'll prove it to you because most of the things that we're going to talk about today, we don't sell on our site. So this is not necessarily me trying to push you to iDry Needle. Yeah, it's Ellie more embedded in the clinic, me more traveling around. What are the little things that when you first get started, you're like, oh, I need some needles, I need a sharps container, I need some gloves, but after that, when you start doing it, things pop up. But yeah, I want you to start. Number one,
I think this is the lowest hanging fruit of something that just makes your whole. So when we talk about it in the courses of, how to optimize your setup. And one of the things that has been really helpful with that is having a cart, obviously, to put everything in one place, but specifically a cart that's flat topped. So I have multiple carts in my room, and I at first bought the cart that has it's like the classic cart you'll get from Michael's, like a craft cart that has a shallow, rectangular basket. Yeah. And what's hard with that is with the eStim units, the cables then have to bend up and over that ledge. So having a flat top, they make a couple different versions. The one I got was from Wayfair, but I think you can get them on Amazon now that are just 3-tiered flat top. And that gives you space for your sharps container on top, where I also have my alcohol pump and cotton balls. The next deck is the needles, and the bottom deck is where a sharps container and some other supplies are as well. That just gives everything in one place. My gloves are stored in my Husky cart, so I have them in a little separate place. And then for our new clinic, we actually got a different brand of 3-tiered where it does have those baskets, but the top basket has a lid on it. So you can still store things underneath that, but then you have the flat surface for the eStim unit. So I think that is something that has definitely evolved with my practice. Previously, I didn't have one. Brian still hasn't evolved to use that. He takes his cables off between every patient.
Like off the stim unit?
Off the stim unit.
I understand that, to be honest. I mean, if you have a deep tangle, sometimes you just need to unplug it so that you have the other end to play with.
For sure. And that's what leads me to my next one, but I'll let you go first. So yeah, I think starting with the cart is great.
I love that. And more specifics on the cart than I expected. And sounds like you have some deep expertise. So the baskets are kind of nice on the lower tiers, but that top being flat.
Needs to be flat.
I mean, that's a good hack. And I mean, seeing people complain about broken stuff, like on the iDry Needle side, don't kink your wires like that. Is if you miss that, I mean, don't be wrapping them up as tight as you can. Don't be kinking that little rubber input, because that's what ruins the wires. And unfortunately, replacement wires are like $18 each. So I love it. My number one, I talk about it all the time on social media. I travel a lot, and travel being like planes. So I actually have two sizes, one that fits in an overhead bin and one that has wheels and doesn't.
Ooh.
MedPack is the name of the brand. It's a bag that I keep all my stuff in. And I mean, the smaller version is perfect. It has a compartment for my sharps, a compartment for my needles, a little slot in back that's perfect for the ES160, 2 side pockets, like one is my in-session trash, one is my gloves, some front compartments where I have some alcohol swabs, shorter needles, some other things. So my MedPack bag is an easy number one for me because I use it constantly. And I mean, I guess I haven't checked out different brands like you have, but MedPack, it's like that durable medical quality. I mean, honestly, I don't know if it's built for EMTs or ATCs, but it's like that thick medical grade, like heavy duty material.
You did a post about it recently, I think. So if you guys
Yeah.
want, go ahead and check that out on
I get excited about
Instagram.
my man bag every so often because it's just so freaking convenient. And I mean, the smaller one, like I said, I just walk through TSA, it goes in the overhead bin, and you know, with an ES 160 and other stuff, I don't always love the idea of checking a needle bag.
Well, let's talk about that too, real quick. Side tangent. People always ask, can we travel with needles? So do you want to touch on that a little bit?
The
Because you do
answer
it.
is yes. And early on, we weren't sure. And then we're kind of like, well, if it's in the packaging, but no loose needles, it's probably okay. But I don't even know how long I can say. Going on 8 years of experience carrying needles. Some are in the sharps containers, some are in their packages. I mean, Max Pack, there's no issue. And I mean, my bag gets kicked to the side every so often. And, whose bag is this? And they're like, it's mine. They're always like, is there anything sharp where it's going to poke me? And I'm like, it's full of needles. And I don't think they believe me until they snap it open. And they're like, are you an acupuncturist? And I'm like, thank you for asking. They're very different philosophically. And then TSA
Do you have the
educate.
whole there? It's like they don't care. They don't care.
But no, there's no problem traveling with needles of all lengths
Cool.
and sizes. Carry on through the metal detector TSA.
Yeah. Do you we do this when we transport our eSIM units for ICE, but do you take your batteries out? That's I guess a good question.
I don't as much as I should. I mean, sometimes my trips are very short, like
Yeah.
30-minute flights around here in the Northwest, but it's probably a better practice to do it. I always have spare batteries in case something happens, but
Yeah,
good
definitely.
point. All right, your next one.
Yeah. All right. This is something again may seem obvious to people, but patients don't always show up in the apparel that is optimal for needling, especially if they're coming in for a hip or a knee injury and you need to access more of the tissue, or upper quarter if they have like a really, overlapping sports bra tank top thing going on. I'll always have shorts and a gown, and I just go with like the extra large double XL Amazon brand shorts that'll fit 90% of humans. Some of them will be drowning in it. And then a gown, again, just to kind of access different areas, especially in the pelvic health world when I'm needling the pelvic floor or things like that. Having a gown is pretty necessary for needling. So
What's the
yeah.
Amazon quality like? Because I picture, my early days, even as a tech, where it's like those, I don't know, the Russell brand, where it's like that, it's not even I don't even know what to say, like the mesh basketball short material. It's like the clothy material. How does the
Yeah,
Amazon brand stack up?
they are clothy, but not like they're still like athletic material. They're not the like meshy ones,
Okay.
but they're long. They're like basketball shorts. They're baggy. I wouldn't wear them in public, probably.
Yeah, great for the clinic, but not for the street.
Yeah,
Okay, that's fair.
but
All right,
haven't
my
had an
next
issue. Yeah, go for it.
people aren't asking for the link for home use.
Definitely not.
use
Definitely not.
use Ellie sent me for 0% off.
My Amazon affiliate link.
I'm gonna burn two on the next one because first of all, I kind of said we were going to talk needles, but Max Pack or just multi-pack needles in general, I use them especially for that bell curve of like 40, 50, 60 millimeter lengths. I just use so many of them in a session. I use Max Packs, and I mean I like our iDry needle band brand, which comes in fives, which is an annoying number. I get it, but I like the needles. I mean, if I open two of those, it's 10. There's other brands that have DBC as 10, but I like the Max Pack. And why I'm comboing my next one is if you like the idea of a Max Pack, but you don't like the idea of like a package opened with loose needles that might get knocked over. Number two is they make these little, I mean, you can't see the screen, but 3 to 6 inch mechanics magnetic trays. So it's like a little metal tray, but it's magnetic. Like there's magnets on the bottom. And I think it's built for like screws and nuts and stuff for mechanics. But even in the packaging, if you lay your multi-pack needle there, I mean, I haven't like slapped it hard, but I've given it a little nudge test and they don't fall out. So, I mean, it adds a little layer of, I guess, safety if you're afraid that they're going to get knocked all over the clinic. But set your Max Pack in a little magnetic tray on your flat top cart, and you'll be so solid.
That's
Bam.
right. That's a good combo there. I wouldn't have even thought of that. Like, what made you think I need a magnetic tray? Did you have
I
Max Packs flying everywhere?
Well, and I don't travel with it, but every time I don't, I wish I did. I mean,
Yeah.
because I'm doing it like in hotel rooms, on couches, like there's dogs and kids running around. Like that's when I
Yeah.
see my Max Pack sitting on the desk over there. Like I really wish they were
And
a little more secure.
yeah, and you don't have that three-tiered cart when you're traveling.
I don't. I would love
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
So that's my
Cool.
2 and 3.
I like that. I'm gonna tackle 2 and 1 as well, if
Hit
that's
it.
okay. They're kind of different, and I maybe I could have included one of them with my cart, but cable organizers. So
Ooh.
another thing, we get questions about it all the time, and I actually saw a really unique one this weekend. And so I was teaching out in Kansas this weekend, and they had an ES160, and the clinic owner actually set up like almost like piping underneath the top deck on your three-tiered cart so that the whole cable could run through it and come
Like
out the other
PVC
side.
piping?
No, but that's what I would probably, it was metal. That's
Okay.
overkill for this because I've always just used, on Amazon, you find cable organizers and they have 7 million different types, and you
Yeah.
get the little eyelet ones that you can stick onto the bottom, command strip them on the bottom of the top shelf. And that's what I've always used. But I think it having that, because the tube was kind of the full length of the top shelf. So having it organize it from the back and the front. And that's kind of what I do with my cable organizers is so my eSIM unit sitting on top. I have my wires coming out the back, wrapping underneath.
Hmm.
Right away under that top shelf, I have a little eyelet there to put in the
Yeah.
cable. And then I have another one on the front side of the shelf. So it's kind of going through that. But I think that the tube was nice because it was a little bit easier to kind of glide through it. So, but he screwed it in to his, like it was a heavy duty project. So if you don't have the availability to do that, some cable organizers can be really helpful. And then another way that I organize my cart, I actually use a tackle box for my needles. Yeah. And
Cute.
so I know most people just have like bins that have the boxes of the needle, and iDry needles boxes are great because they have this little slant and it's really easy to kind of open and utilize. But this was for actually before we opened the clinic, and Brian and I were doing a little bit more concierge stuff. So we didn't fly anywhere. So we would just pack them in tackle boxes and take them places before our clinic was open. And you can fit in like a traditional, I think it's like 12 by 18 inches or something like that, or 11 by 15 inches, like a bigger tackle box that has the adjustable slots in it. And you can fit everything except for the new 135 millimeter needles. So you can fit 3 max packs. So you got the 40s, 50s, and 60s max packs. I guess you have these 40s and 50s. I don't have the 0.25 millimeter diameter separated from the 0.5. Or the 0.3. I just know the colors there. 60, 75, and then you have a slot for 105s. And then there's still room for more there. So like when I was traveling, I put alcohol swabs in that area. So
Nice.
that sits on my second shelf. So I have eSIM unit, alcohol, cotton balls, and then tackle box below it.
And I think and I've seen your setup, at least the cart. I guess I didn't dig into your tackle box, but I
So
think
cool.
the picture we're painting is having, I mean, not just efficiency or whatever, but kind of a clean looking setup. I mean, carts are nice because you can wheel it room to room if you're sharing or moving throughout the day, whatever. But I think it's worth kind of having a tidy looking workspace for needling versus the opposite. If you look like a hot mess and just needles are everywhere, packaging, you got to think that some people notice that. And you have to wonder if there's a little anxiety or uncertainty on board about trying needling. You might not look like the person they want to try needling with for the first time.
Yeah. And I think like people have carts, and I've been to, a ton of clinics at this point. I've seen carts of all shapes, sizes, makes, cleanliness. And I feel like I get sketched out when I see, a bunch of boxes, half empty needles, a sharps container sitting on top with needles sticking out of it. Like it doesn't
Oof,
look,
that's
it doesn't
cringy.
look
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
No, bad
So I
optic.
definitely, yeah, I definitely agree with like having it look professional is going to make it seem like more of
Yeah.
a legit technique. So,
I'm going to jump in with my next one. Also, cable organization. And on my travel train, I believe it's for wires or like dongles, but there's this little kit that I keep my eSIM wires in while I travel. And I mean, I used to, speaking to how maybe not the most professional looking, I used to just have a thicker Ziploc bag that I had them in, which I mean gets dirty and like breaks, and like you're pulling your wires out of this trashy looking Ziploc bag. It's way
It's like
better to, I have my dongle case that carries all of my eSIM wires. It's padded or whatever. Maybe that helps with them not breaking down, but that fits inside of my med pack bag. So
nice.
a wire case.
Do you still like, do you do the like figure eight? Like, how do you, yeah.
That's, yeah. I mean, in between session, they're always like, yeah, looped and figurated. But after that first use in a session, because I'm like doing big eSTIM setup, take those out, another one, like in between, clip it up, clip it off, and you're moving down there. That's when things, I still don't have life hacks for like not tangling your wires. Like I just loaded 6 wires or more, and I take them off. And I mean, I take them off and want to get the needles out pretty quickly. Like I'm not going to sit
Hmm.
there untangling wires while there's 12 needles in my patient. So I take the clips off, take the needles out, and then, we're preparing to do the next setup. At some point, I just have to pause and like untangle some of those wires that I just took off in a mass fashion.
Totally. And that's another thing Brian does. He takes the alligator clips off and the cables off. Like he does the whole thing. And that's another way, a little cheat sheet of how to, quickly or more efficiently
Yeah.
untangle the spaghetti mess that happens. But
That's
I
on like
don't,
my third phase of
yeah.
frustration.
Yeah. It's like I've tried and then you just take everything apart. You just don't want to lose the alligator clips.
For
So
sure.
that is something that if you
Which
take
we
them
see on
off,
courses. I mean, we use
yeah.
these stim units have been used for, I mean, years now, course to course, weekend to weekend. And yeah, that alligator clip that fits on the pin can start to get loose, which is probably not great for conduction, but definitely increases the chance you lose one at some point.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. All
All
right.
right.
I think my last one is, we talk about it a lot of, to increase safety with dry needling, knowing your anatomy can be really helpful. And I think something that we as providers or as physical therapists think that we should know everything about every muscle and all of that stuff. And so I, I feel like I do. No, I'm just kidding.
I think you do.
But but having essential anatomy or some sort of
Good
app
one.
that has anatomy at your fingertips can help you orient yourself to where that muscle is, remind you what other sensitive structures are around it. If it's not a muscle you needle a lot. So having the anatomy app, but also having the Ice Physio app if you've taken our course, and you can review those video techniques ahead of time. So I think those are pretty helpful.
Nice
I
plug.
definitely,
Nice plug there. Because
yeah,
I thought you were going to go, I love essential anatomy as well. And like you said, it'll level up your awareness, but using it with patients too. I mean,
yeah, yeah,
explaining to Gladys glute minimus, like as soon as the word glute makes her think it's way more posterior, it's like, no, this is actually it's your deepest muscle, but it's kind of a lateral hip muscle. So that's where we're going with the needle. So helpful for
yeah.
patients too. Would
And
not
that's
recommend showing Gladys glute minimus and then have all the nerves and vessels and all the other
yeah.
things. Like
Yeah.
just do straight up
Isolate
muscle.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I what I was gonna say is I think that's how I like if it's an area where I'm like, oh, I haven't needled this in a long time. I want to see what's near it. Again, I don't use it as much anymore, but you can fake that like you're this opening it to show them, but it's also like giving you some insight of the structures
Mm.
around it. So showing them also will refresh your memory too. So
Let's just
yeah.
both dig in and review the anatomy here.
Yeah.
Let me magic school
Brother.
bus you.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. All right. What's your last and best one?
Last one. This is just quick and easy. If you're not aware out there, there are thicker gloves. I mean, nitrile gloves, and they're actually 6 mil, and that's not millimeter. It's like MIL is the actual term, but it's a thicker glove. The brand I have, I got it from my dry needle. I'm sure there's other brands out there, but they're black, which I like that look, but it's the thickness that I like. I mean, if you are out there and you have big hands or sweaty hands, the main thing is like you can really lean into it to put it on without it ripping. And I mean, if you guys are out there with the cheap gloves, which are much thinner, I mean, without knowing all of the mill ranges available, it seems like there's really thin cheap gloves. There's kind of the standard Smurfy purple and blue ones, and then there's some thicker ones. So I like the thicker gloves.
And so never accidentally buy vinyl gloves. That's my 2 cents on vinyl are the lunch lady gloves.
I was gonna say,
And You can
That's
Google or you can like Amazon nitrile gloves and they'll still pop up with some vinyl gloves. I accidentally bought 1,000 vinyl gloves for one of our employees, so he
I
has to
remember
work
in
his
the
way
middle of
through.
COVID, we had to teach a few courses with the food service gloves, and man, it's hard to watch yourself doing it, but then a room full of people using that as their bloodborne pathogen protection. Like I don't even know if OSHA's cool with that, but yeah, yep, bad look. Yeah, yep, love it. Good ad. All right, those are our 10 things you probably didn't think about. Ellie, where do they find you on the gram and elsewhere? Yeah, I'll be there. Yeah, it is. And I was just in you're in Longmont, right? I was just there last weekend. If you have never been, it's worth the trip. I mean, whether you're a Colorado local, Megan Jackal owns Inspire Sports PT is where we go, and it's, I mean, an amazing gym and facility for the workouts. There's cold plunge and sauna that we get access to. It's a sweet setup. Way harder than it looks. I don't recommend like 30 seconds of YouTube education, but this coming weekend, Mount Holly, North Carolina, just outside of Charlotte. Then we're at 20 folks, which I think is max capacity, so potentially sold out. Then that weekend after that, I got another home course here in Bellevue, Washington. Still a few seats there, which if you're in Washington, you should consider because we really slow it down during the summer. So if you're trying to get some hours in before the summer, I mean, Bellevue is always a sellout risk. So yeah, those are my next 2 weekends. And honestly, that will end a 6 out of 7 weekends straight gauntlet. I mean, aside from Easter, this has been a busy season. So, aside from Sampler, we all kind of, as faculty, as a division, kind of slow down in the summer. Maybe that's good. Maybe you all do too for the Con Ed, just like family vacations, chill out, enjoy the weather, and then we are back much busier in the fall. But you can find me at DPT with needles, all spelt out, or yeah, both of us, all of us at dn.icephysio in the app. All right. Thanks, team. Catch you next time.